Welcome back to another Spirit Island video. In this video, we're going to be discussing the Nature Incarnate Majors. Now, this is my first video regarding the expansion. As you guys have probably heard, everything is now released. You can find it online. There is a player right now that is compiling all of the Nature Incarnate stuff into a mod, and then they're going to kind of share that with everybody later today. Now, the images shown here aren't the best, and eventually we'll get better images as the days go by. Now, today marks the first day in 90 days that I have to wait before I can start talking about the analysis strategies about part of this expansion. Um, Now that will give me some time to kind of put together those spirit guides that I've been wanting to do for a while. Now, in the meantime, I'll be doing basically covering all of the spirits and majors and just kind of talking through and presenting the information for people that don't have TTS because I want to be able to showcase that stuff for you guys as well. So this video, we're going to be focusing on the majors. Let's get started. Now, we're going to start with majors that we've already talked about in previous videos, but this is going to be a recap. So starting off, we have Flocking Red Talons. This is a 3 energy fast air, water, plant, animal. It is a fast power, wetlands range, and it adds a beast. You get to move 2 beasts within 3 to target land. For each beast present, you get to do 1 damage to a different invader, and then you may push 1 explorer town. And then you have a threshold here of 2, 2, 3, and you get to repeat this power again. As you guys can see here, it's very good at taking out a lot of single entities and is going to struggle dealing with cities. This is one of my favorite cards from the expansion. Some of the earlier iterations, I really did not like this card, but as you guys probably have seen in my videos, this is a card that I really like to pick up if I absolutely can. It's such a fun card to use. What I also love, and I mentioned this previously, but it has the air, animal, water, which is for many minds, and then it has the plant animal for fangs. So it allows both of the spirits to threshold the card, but they're missing a different element. So fangs is missing the air, many minds is missing that plant. So it's a card that's really cool on those spirits, but the spirit still needs to draft another card to threshold it. And I love that. It's so clever design. Okay, moving to the next one. Transformative Sacrifice. This is a 3 energy fast power. It's a moon, fire, water plant. Fast targeting, target a spirit. That spirit may remove up to 3 presents from anywhere on the island. Then, for each removed presence, they may gain and play for free the top card of the minor power deck. You then have a 2/3/2 threshold, and this allows you to remove an additional presence from your tracks. So it's essentially a proliferation. Um, a card that I thought was fairly weak at first, but I actually find myself picking this card up quite a lot. And you want to know what? It's a very fun card. One of the things that I like doing with this card is I'll play it once. You end up destroying a ton of presents, but then you can just target other spirits at the board. You don't have to always target yourself. So it's a card that encourages cooperativity. It also is a card that is kind of paying homage to GTS because it's matching those GTS elements. Looking at the next card here, we have Bargains of Coursing Path. This is a 2 energy, fast power, moon, air, water, earth. It must target a land that has 2 Dahan. The cost is losing a presence and -1 energy every turn. Now, mark both target land and another land that has 2 Dahan. After pieces are added or moved into the marked lands, move those pieces directly to any one land. So essentially, it creates a finder portal on the board, such that whenever invaders get moved into that empty land, they get shifted anywhere across the board. This is probably one of my favorite majors in the game. Once again, just like Transformative, I hated this card at first, but the more and more I played with it, the more and more I enjoyed it, and it just creates very interesting games. Trying to think if there's anything else I want to say. Oh yeah, it's a bargains effect. So just like the other bargains in the deck here, bargains, power and protection. It'll be interesting to see if we're going to get any more bargains in the future expansions. Looking at the next major here, we have Rumbling Earthquake. And this is a 6 energy slow power. It's a fire earth. Sacred Site range 1. This power ignores health bonuses, 3 fear, 6 damage to buildings only. And then it says 6 damage among adjacent lands to buildings only. So a great way to kill a lot of buildings. It has a 4 earth threshold that allows you to do an additional 6 damage into both the target land and the adjacent lands. Um, One of the things that a lot of people miss on this card is it's not 12 damage total. It's 6 damage in your target land and then 6 damage adjacent land into the adjacent lands. And that's something that I've seen a lot of players miss. Um, I think this card's another really fun card to use. I mean, I find myself picking it up a lot. I mean, the power ignores health bonuses, which makes it excellent into England, into Habsburg. Um, Adversaries like Scotland, it's great to just killing all of those buildings that pop up. I really think this is so like looking at other 6 cost majors. What is it? Tsunami. If I know how to spell it correctly, there we go. This is a card that costs 6, and I think this is, well, oh wow, it's water earth versus fire earth. That's really cool. I didn't notice that. This is a card that Tsunami is a card that I think should be boosted a little bit. And I think when we were designing Rumbling Earthquake, we had this card in mind. So we were kind of balancing this card around this card in a way. And then but we felt this was a little undertuned. So it'll be interesting to see what happens to Tsunami down the road. Also, I'm a stone player, so whenever I see 4 earth as a threshold, that gets me super excited because that means it's a free threshold for me. All right. Exaltation of the Incandescent Sky. This is the most recent major we've talked about. It's a 7 cost sun, fire, air, water. It's an exaltation effect, which means it's going to affect another spirit as well as yourself. And it says target spirit may play 1 additional power card. They may make 2 of their power cards fast, and they get to do 3 fast damage in one of their lands. It has this big threshold of 3 sun, 3 fire, 4 air, and 2 water. It gives you 4 target lands on the island, skip 1 invader action, and then you gain 5 fear. I love this card. Just like all of the previous cards here, I find myself always considering it. This card is the power to just power through and lead the spirits to victory. It's the first way that we have slow to fast in the major power deck, which is very, very exciting. Um, my only complaint about this card is I mentioned we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're just missing that 6 because you have the 7 cost here. I really wish it would have been like isolate 6 lands. I think that'd be way too strong, but still, if this said like isolate 6 lands, and this was the 7 cost just to have that nice numeric jump. Fragments of Yesteryear. It's a Sun Moon 7 cost slow power. It's 0 range. It removes all pieces, then adds pieces so target land's contents match its setup symbols. Um, there was a little thing about this card that I had asked the devs, and if you were to target a land like land number 2 here, it technically the disease does not count as a setup symbol here, so it would not re-add the disease. That's something that I think a lot of players are going to miss at first. Same thing if you were to target this beast here. Like, yes, I know it has the image here, but on the actual boards, it does not have it. What else? Oh yeah, so then it has a 3 sun. This power may be fast, and then 3 moon. You don't remove Dahan, any spirit's presence or spirit tokens, and then don't add invaders slash blight. All right, so these are the 6 majors that we've actually already seen, and then now let's talk about the 6 majors that are brand new today. Starting off at number 1, Solidify Echoes of Majesty Past. First, let's appreciate Emily Hancock's artwork. She is the artist that has done Shroud, Starlight. She does Wandering Voice, and then she also has done Rumbling Earthquake, or not Rumbling Earthquake, Dances Up Earthquake. Well, as well as this card. Just a fantastic artist. But okay, let's look at the card. It's a 4 cost Sun, Moon, Air, Earth. Choose one of target spirit's lands. In that land and each adjacent land defend 3. So it's like a mini Aegis. It then adds 1 destroyed presence to each adjacent land, skipping up to 1 invader action at each added destroyed presence. So really cool with spirits that are destroying their presence or have a lot of destroyed presence already. And I'll let you guys kind of think of what already exists. And then it has a threshold here of 2 sun, 2 moon, and 2 earth. Target spirit may either reclaim 1 power card or regains a unique card that they previously forgot. They then may play it by paying its cost I love this threshold. It's so cool. Um, our first way of gaining cards that we previously forgotten. Really fun to do is like you can gain this major, forget a unique, play this major, threshold the major, and then regain that unique just to play it. Um, I mean, I have no complaints with this card. This is a card that we were able to tune up. I mean, at one point it was too weak. It was never too strong, but I think we reached a point where I really like. I consider it in some games. It's saved me in some games. In other games, it's been medium. So I think we really found that right power level for this card. It also has some really fun combos um, that you guys can kind of figure out in the future, and we'll talk about that in later videos. Bombard with boulders and stinging seeds. It's a 2 energy slow. It's an air earth plant. 2 range from a mountain jungle. It adds 1 fear, 2 damage, and adds a Badlands. It then, if you have 2 air, 2 earth, and 3 plant, you get to add an extra fear, 2 more damage, and then you add a wilds. Now, I've had some players asking me which is my favorite major in the set, and this is it. I am a simple man. I love simple cards and simple effects, and that's exactly what this card is. It's 2 damage, 1 fear, and a Badlands for 2 energy, which is very, very reasonable. Now, if you threshold it, you get 2 extra damage, but really you have a Badlands in that land, so it's really 3 extra damage. So the card is actually doing 5 damage, 2 fear, and 2 tokens for the cost of 2 energy. Now, of course, this threshold is fairly challenging to hit unless you're a plant spirit. It looks at towering roots. Um, but if you're not a plant spirit, it's going to be harder to threshold this. If you are a plant spirit, this is going to be an easy threshold to get. But really, I love the simplicity, and it also just it's always a consideration just because of how cheap it is, and also like adding Badlands creates a lot of synergy with spirits. Like maybe you're playing like River, right, where Badlands helps, or maybe Fangs. Like there's plenty of spirits that can utilize this Badlands. So there's just so much value in this card, and it's just one of my favorites in the whole set. Looking at the next one, Inspire the Release of the Stolen Lands. It's a 4-cost slow sun, moon, plant, animal. It's a slow power, 2 range, must target lands that don't have blight. It says gather up to 3 Dahan, remove up to 3 health worth of invaders per Dahan, and then if you have this mega threshold of 332, you get to target lands with blight, and then if Dahan are present, remove the blight in that land, and then remove an explorer town, city, and lands within 1 range. Now, I've already heard people say, "Oh man, this is so overpowered." No, this card is very balanced. And I've been seeing already quick comparisons to Vigor of the Breaking Dawn, and this card is very different than Vigor. And just to kind of pull this up to explain why, so first, it costs 1 energy more, which is huge. The difference between 3 energy and 4 energy is massive. Like 3 energy, any spirit can play. 4 energy, there are spirits that can't play them. In addition, it's slow versus fast. The target land can't be blighted. It generates no fear from the top part, while this card does. And then Vigor's bottom part is a 3/2 threshold, which is significantly easier than a 3/3/2. And just to kind of mention what I've previously mentioned in other videos is 3/3 thresholds are very difficult to hit. That means you need to have 3 perfect element cards. They all have to have, in this case, they need to all have that sun water, and then you also need 2 animals. So thresholding this card is going to be very challenging without support. And unfortunately, this threshold is really powerful, and it feels powerful. One of the last things I was able to get them to do in the expansion is making this threshold worthwhile, because I promise you, the threshold was very, very underwhelming for several months of playtesting, and it almost got through. Um, but yes, I think this threshold is very reasonable. You're rarely going to hit it unless you get supported, which I think that's fine. Overall, I mean, I think this card is fun to use. Um, I mean, I really have no complaints with it. I mean, yeah. All right. I can't say any more about the card. We'll talk about it later. Okay. Moving to the next one here. We have Ravaged Undergrowth, 3 energy, slow power. It is a water plant animal. Sacred Site targeting, must target a land with blight. You replace that blight with a wilds. Remember, if you replace the blight, that means it goes back to the blight card. It then does 3 damage, 1 fear, and then you can push that wilds. I really love this part. I think it's very reasonable. For 3 energy, you're healing a blight, 1 fear, 3 damage, and a wilds. And now if you have a threshold here, it's 3 water and 2 plant. You get to add an additional wilds. You may push it in each land with wilds within 1 range of the target land. Push an explorer town from a land without or from it says push 1 explorer and 1 town to lands without wilds. Now, this is very interesting. It has 1 range. This can get boosted by range effects. So if someone plays Reaching Grasp, that increases this range to 4. That means 4 range of your target land. In all lands with wilds, this effect is going to occur, which is really cool. It's never really come up in my games, but I've always wanted it to. Um, yeah, I mean, this is another card I find it's right into that sweet spot power level. Sometimes I pick it up, sometimes I don't. It's really going to be dependent on my spirit as well as what I'm trying to do that game. All right, we got 2 left. Oh, I thought this would be the last one. Unearth the Beast of Wrathful Stone. It's a 5 cost Moon, Fire, Earth animal. Fast power, Sacred Site range, must target a land with invaders. It says after the next invader phase, on any turn with no ravage slash build actions in target land 3 fear, 12 damage, add a beast. You may push that beast 1 fear, 2 damage in the land the beast gets pushed to. Now, this top part very tricky because it has to be in a land that doesn't have invaders or not invaders that's not ravaging or building. So that means against Russia, England, this card can be kind of tricky to pull off just because those adversaries have several invader cards that are building and ravaging, and you guys have seen my videos, so you know what I'm talking about here. Now, the threshold is a 2/3/3, and we just talked about 3/3 thresholds, so this is going to be very challenging to hit unless you get supported. Now, it's very cool. It says mark the beast. The beast can never leave the island. Each slow phase, you may push that beast 1 fear and 2 damage. This is so much fun and probably a lot of my playgroup's favorite threshold in the entire game because that beast every turn is going to be moving and doing 2 damage and generating that 1 fear. And so maybe someone will beat my record, but the record that my playgroup has been 5 marked beasts by the end of the game. And this is just crazy nonsense. I think we had like a power storm with like an earth, and we repeated it I think multiple times. Like it was only played I think twice, but once it was played, it was thresholded and it was repeated, which was really cool. Yeah, I mean I like this card. Uh, it's very versatile. Well, versatile as in it kills a single built-up land. It generates a lot of fear. It creates a beast, and then that beast can't be killed. So you're covering a ton of different bases. Like if you're playing against Russia, that beast can never die. So like you've just increased your beast count on that board. And then if you threshold it, you get that consistent damage every turn. All right, looking at the last major here, we have Plague Ships Sail to Distant Ports. It's a fast power, 4 energy cost, fire, air, water, animal. Must target a coastal city. Let's admire the artwork of Vengeance hanging on the boat here. And this guy just falling over. It's a 1 fear, add 4 disease among coastal lands on any boards other than the target land. If you have the 2/2/3 threshold, instead, 1 fear, 3 damage. Spirits may jointly spend 3 energy per player, aided by removing disease from the island for each 3 energy to remove the top fear card from the game, and then you add a disease. So this card, if you threshold it, allows you to completely get rid of fear cards. And actually, just to restate, the threshold is actually 2 fire, 2 water, and 2 animal. I think I might have said 3 animal. So yes, this threshold allows you to destroy fear cards, and then the top part just adds a ton of disease. That disease is really key into like England, Scotland, Habsburg, the new HME, because now remember disease makes lands not mining, or actually I don't think that's actually the case. I think it actually stops ravages of mining lands, but essentially it helps counteract HME. So these are the 6 majors. I will be doing a major power tier list later in the coming months, where I'll kind of talk about where these majors all stand But overall, I'm pretty happy with the power level of them. I love, let's see, my favorites. I mean, I love Exaltation, Bombard, Bargains, Rumbling, Flocking. Um, Really, those are my five that I absolutely love. And then I love playing with Solidify and Unearth and Transform. Like that would be my second tier of like favorites. And then the final tier would be like Fragments, Ravage, Plague Ships, and Inspire. I will be producing more Nature Incarnate content over the next couple days and months. So this will be a fun couple of weeks. I'll see you guys in the next video.